In August 2024, a heinous crime in Kolkata shook the entire nation. A 31-year-old doctor was at the prestigious RealStories Medical College. This incident sparked widespread outrage, not only within the medical community, but also across India, as people demanded accountability, reform, and justice for the victim. Today, we delve into the tragic events of that night, the aftermath, and the broader implications for women's safety in India. On the night of August 8, 2024, the victim, a young postgraduate trainee doctor, was completing her shift at RealStories Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata. Working late into the night, she had dinner with her colleagues and retired in a seminar hall after a 36-hour shift in the hospital. It was a seemingly routine day, but unbeknownst to her, something sinister was about to happen. Sometime after midnight, a civic volunteer, Sanjay re-entered the hospital. Earlier in the day, he had been helping a patient's family, a common task for civic volunteers. However, as the night wore on, he returned under much darker intentions. After consuming alcohol, Roy entered the hospital's seminar room where she had been resting. At about 9:30 the following morning, her body was discovered in the seminar hall in a state with her eyes, mouth, and she was later declared dead. College authorities initially informed her family that she had committed suicide. An autopsy was conducted on the second day, and after its completion, an unnatural death case was registered. The autopsy confirmed that she had been subjected to a brutal assault with multiple injuries all over her body. The cause of death was manual strangulation, compounded by severe trauma. The autopsy also revealed that the victim had been before being as strangulation. The report, spanning 4 pages, also noted deep wounds in her tract, lips, left leg, right hand, ring finger, neck, and face. The report revealed that the scratch marks on the woman's face were likely caused by the offender's fingernails. According to the report, pressure was applied to her mouth and throat, and she was strangled, resulting in a fracture of the thyroid cartilage. The report also noted from her eyes, mouth, and with the injuries in her area attributed to perverted sexuality and genital torture. It was reported that the post-mortem autopsy also revealed that semen was found in the swab. This finding, along with the extent of injuries, led the doctors who assessed the autopsy report and the victim's parents to suggest that the doctor named Debnath may have been subjected to gang. However, the Kolkata police has dismissed these claims as rumors, stating that it is impossible to distinguish from multiple individuals with the naked eye during an autopsy. The investigation has not so far revealed any signs of occurrence of a gang. The discovery of her body sent shockwaves through the hospital. Her colleagues, fellow students, and faculty members were devastated. Within hours, the news spread, and the incident quickly became national headlines. A video has surfaced on social media claiming to show her final moments. This video has caused widespread outrage and confusion. However, it has been confirmed upon investigation that the video is unrelated to the tragic incident. Investigations were launched immediately, and it didn't take long for the authorities to zero in on Sanjay, who has been described as a womanizer and a domestic abuser. Roy was identified through CCTV footage. He was seen entering and leaving the seminar room where the crime had taken place. Based on this evidence, police arrested him within hours. A special CBI court had granted permission to the agency to conduct a polygraph test on the accused as well as the ex-principal of the college. Sanjay was asked 10 questions by the CBI during his polygraph test. 3 polygraph experts along with the investigating officer of the probe agency were present during the test. The polygraph of the accused revealed several inconsistencies with regard to his narration of the events of the night of the crime. Sanjay, a civic volunteer with Kolkata police, initially confessed to the crime following his arrest on August 10th. However, he has since retracted his confession, insisting that he is being framed and is innocent. Until this day, the CBI states that Sanjay Roy remains the only suspect in this case. Roy was held before the sealed court on Friday for a closed-door hearing. The judge personally asked Roy if he had any objections to undergoing the narco test, and Roy declined to give his consent. In a narco analysis test, a drug called sodium pentothal is injected into the body of the accused, which transports them to a hypnotic or sedated state in which their imagination is neutralized. In this hypnotic state, the accused is understood as being incapable of lying and is expected to reveal information that is true. Under a 2010 ruling by the Supreme Court of India, narco analysis tests cannot be conducted without the accused's voluntary consent. Thus, Roy will not be tested.
CBI appeal for accused narco test has been rejected. No permission has been granted as Sanjay did not give his consent.
While the arrest brought a small sense of relief, the hospital community was left with more questions than answers. How could this happen in one of the busiest hospitals in Kolkata? How did a civic volunteer with no professional medical training gain access to such restricted areas of the hospital? These questions sparked the first wave of protests led by the hospital's medical staff. The medical community demanded better security, not just at R.G. Carr Medical College, but in all hospitals across the state. Doctors, nurses, and medical staff refused to resume work until proper security measures were in place. What started as a local protest soon spread, as doctors from other hospitals in Kolkata and across West Bengal joined in. News of the crime ignited a firestorm of outrage across India. Social media was ablaze with discussions on women's safety, especially in workplaces. Hashtags demanding justice for the victim began trending within hours. Protests were not limited to Kolkata. Across major cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, people gathered in solidarity with the medical community, demanding justice. The incident was widely covered in the media and triggered outrage across the nation, especially within the medical community, as student unions and colleagues of the deceased demanded justice and improved security measures on campus. The victims' parents expressed their frustration over the lack of support from the police since the beginning of the investigation. They stated that if it weren't for the doctors going on strike and the outcry on social media, the police might have closed the case long ago. The family's accusations have sparked widespread outrage, raising concerns about the police's integrity and the government's role in ensuring the safety of its citizens. The case has further highlighted the ongoing struggles faced by victims of violence in India and the obstacles to achieving justice. Amid growing anger, the West Bengal government came under pressure to respond swiftly. The chief minister condemned the crime and promised swift action, including a thorough investigation and reforms to hospital security. Additional measures were announced to improve women's safety in public and private spaces, particularly hospitals.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP party is ramping up pressure on the regional government of West Bengal in the wake of the trainee doctor in Kolkata, and it called for the state's chief minister, Mamata Banerjee, to step down, claiming that her administration mishandled the initial investigation into the crime. Ishan Garg has more from Kolkata, which has been rocked by protests since the shocking incident took place.
On the 13th of August, over 8,000 doctors in the state of Maharashtra suspended all but emergency services. In New Delhi, junior doctors wearing white coats staged a protest outside major government hospitals. Emergency services stayed suspended on the 13th of August in almost all the government-run college hospitals in Kolkata. Similar protests in other cities affected some hospital services. The public demanded more than just promises. They wanted tangible results. As the investigation continued, public trust in local authorities began to wane, fearing that crucial evidence might be tampered with. calls for a central investigative agency to take over the case grew louder. Amid the mounting pressure, on the 13th of August 2024, the Kolkata High Court, unsatisfied with the police's handling of the investigation, assigned the case to the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI). They also flagged the possibility of destruction of evidence if the state police continued with their investigation. The CBI took charge of the investigation, promising a thorough and transparent inquiry into the crime and any lapses in the hospital's security procedures. On August 15th, shortly after midnight, police deployed tear gas and baton charged a crowd of demonstrators at RG Carr Medical College after a group toppled a barricade and entered the hospital. The individuals threw stones at the hospital premises and vandalized the emergency ward and the area where the victim was found. Several policemen and protesters were injured. Kolkata Police Commissioner Vineet Goyal blamed the incident on the malicious media campaign against the Kolkata police. Kolkata police detained and later arrested 19 persons responsible for the violence and vandalism at the hospital premises on August 15th. On the 22nd of August, staff at AIIMS Delhi, RMO Hospital, and other public hospitals across India called off their strike following an appeal from the Supreme Court. However, the doctors in West Bengal continued their strike despite assurances from the court. Hrithik Roshan, Kareena Kapoor Khan, and Alia Bhatt were among celebrities who posted on their social media accounts calling for justice for the victim. Other celebrities such as Sourav Ganguly and Mohammad Siraj asked for severe punishment to the criminals. Harbhajan Singh, former cricketer and Rajya Sabha MP for the Aam Aadmi Party, wrote a letter requesting that the Chief Minister and Governor of West Bengal take swift action regarding the case. On August 28, 2024, President Draupadi Murmu described the incident as horrific. With the CBI now handling the case, the legal proceedings began in earnest. Sanjay Roy faced charges of and unlawful entry into a restricted area. His confession was crucial in speeding up the investigation, but questions lingered about how such a tragedy could have happened in the first place. The CBI's investigation didn't stop at Roy. It extended to the hospital administration as well. Several key officials were suspended for negligence, as they had failed to enforce strict security measures that could have prevented such an incident. The investigation revealed that lapses in security protocols allowed a civic volunteer with no legitimate reason to have such unrestricted access. Sandeep Kumar Ghosh, an orthopedic surgeon and the principal of the college, resigned amid the protests surrounding the incident. He cited an inability to endure the ongoing humiliation from social media criticism and defamatory remarks by politicians. Shortly after his resignation, he was appointed as the principal of Kolkata National Medical College, a move that sparked further outrage. On the 13th of August, the Kolkata High Court directed the government and the concerned authorities to place him on extended leave, while also criticizing his immediate reappointment. Following the incident and protests, the court constituted a national task force to ensure workplace safety for doctors and requested the protest doctors return to their duties. The court ordered the Central Industrial Security Force and Central Reserve Police Force to provide security at the hospital and asked the CBI to submit a status report. In the hearing on the 20th of August, the court heavily criticized the law enforcement for the time delay between the discovery of the body and the registration of a first information report. It asked the state government not to take any action on the protest doctors and the civilians, and to refrain from holding any measures to stop peaceful protesters while requesting doctors to resume normal work. The CBI raided the house of Sandeep Kumar Ghosh and former medical superintendent and college vice principal Sanjay Vashist on August 25th and seized several documents. It also filed a FIR against them over financial irregularities and corruption at the hospital. Later, the Enforcement Directorate also launched an investigation over the financial irregularities by the hospital administration. On August 28, the Indian Medical Association suspended the membership of Ghosh amid allegations of corruption and the ongoing CBI and Enforcement Directorate investigations against him. Ghosh had been subjected to 2 polygraph tests over an alleged cover-up of the and allegations of financial fraud and irregularities at the college and hospital. On September the 2nd, the CBI arrested Ghosh along with his security aide Afsar Ali and vendors Biplav Singh and Suman Hazar over financial irregularities and fraud during his tenure as the principal. He, along with the other arrested people, were remanded to 8-day CBI custody by a special court. On September the 3rd, he was suspended by the West Bengal Health Department. At the hearing on the 9th of September, judges sought clarification over the precise time of death and the filing of an unnatural death case. They asked for a CBI status report by the coming week. Advocate Kapil Sibal informed the court that 23 people had died due to the protests by medical fraternity in West Bengal. On the same day, the Supreme Court asked all the protest doctors to return to their respective duties by the evening of September the 10th. It asked the state government to extend all possible support to the CISF team, providing security at the RG Kar Hospital and Medical College. On September the 14th, Ghosh was again arrested by the CBI along with a police personnel of Bijit Mondal for destruction of evidence at the hospital. The case quickly became a legal spectacle, with human rights activists and gender violence organizations closely monitoring the proceedings. The victim's family, too, became a focal point in the media as they called for justice to be served swiftly and without bias.
News that's just coming in. The Human Rights Panel has been blocked from entering Hooghly in the state of West Bengal. Human rights violation headed to Howrah's Shivpur, where tensions erupted over Ram Navami processions, was stopped by the West Bengal police at Kolkata's second Hooghly bridge.
Beyond the tragic personal loss, this incident raised deeper concerns about women's safety in India. It was a stark reminder that even in supposedly safe environments like hospitals, women remain vulnerable. It exposed the urgent need for reforms in workplace security, especially for women working in night shifts. Shortly after the case gained national attention, the West Bengal government implemented several reforms. Hospitals were directed to install more CCTV cameras, particularly in sensitive areas. Security personnel were increased, and new policies were put in place to ensure that only authorized personnel could access certain parts of the hospital, especially during night shifts. But beyond these structural changes, this case ignited a national conversation on the need for stronger laws and faster judicial processes when it comes to crimes against women. Several legal experts proposed reforms to ensure that cases, especially those involving workplace safety, are fast-tracked through the courts. Gender violence is not new to India, but each case like this one reminds us of the work that remains to be done. Activists argue that while new laws are essential, a change in societal attitudes towards women is equally important. As the investigation continues and the case moves through the courts, the question remains: what will it take to prevent such incidents from happening again? Many believe that a multifaceted approach is necessary, one that combines legal reforms, institutional changes, and societal shifts. On the legal front, fast-tracking cases involving violence against women is a major demand. Ensuring that justice is served swiftly would act as a deterrent to potential offenders. Furthermore, increasing penalties for negligence in workplaces could force institutions to take women's safety more seriously. At an institutional level, hospitals and other workplaces must invest in better security infrastructure, especially for those working late hours. But beyond the physical infrastructure, there needs to be a cultural shift in how women are perceived and treated in the workplace. Ultimately, the case of the Kolkata doctor is a tragic reminder of the work that remains to be done to ensure women's safety. Her death should not be in vain. It must inspire real change, not only in Kolkata but across the nation. The August 2024 Kolkata case will be remembered as one of the most tragic incidents in recent memory. But more than a tragedy, it must serve as a turning point, a moment that brought a nation to its knees, forcing every citizen to reflect on how India treats its daughters, sisters, and mothers. The memory of the victim, her potential, and her contributions to society will remain a solemn reminder that the world must do better. It's time to turn Indian outrage into action. Before we close, here are some ways you can help. Reach out to local organizations that work towards gender violence prevention. Educate yourself and others on the importance of workplace safety, especially for women. Support laws and policies that prioritize women's rights and safety. And most importantly, never stay silent in the face of injustice. Together, we can build safer and more equitable societies.